Hey, how's it going out there, everyone? It's Brandon here, aka Scourge of Vinyl. Today, another Check This Out episode where I'm going to talk about some new stuff that I've acquired recently, stuff that I feel like talking about, stuff that I think is really good, stuff that I think you all should check out and listen to. My last video, I got to squeeze in, the last edition of the Metalhead box. I mentioned that I was going out to California with my band Night Fear. The tour was amazing. If any of you watching this came out to a show, thank you so much. We had an absolute blast. I can't wait to get back out on the road again, hopefully soon. But while we were out there, had enough time to go to downtown Los Angeles, and I went to Amoeba in Hollywood. Renowned record store here in the States. Place was absolutely massive. I wasn't sure if we were gonna have time before we left, but we had to pick a couple people up from Long Beach. We were, pretty close, about 45 minutes from there, early in the morning before we played Ventura, California, so we had enough time. Got there as soon as it opened, 10:30. Got quite a few things from there. 3 CDs, 3 records, a couple pins that I'm not going to bother showing, but it was just an absolute treat to be there. I'm so glad that we had time to stop. I wanted to stop babbling and just show you guys what I got there. Got a couple new releases. This is the newest album from the band Crypts, entitled Scourge of the Enthroned. This was released by Century Media. It came out the day of my trip to Amoeba, so it was a Friday, new release day. Really glad to be there to pick this up because I had it, on my little want list. I always keep a list on my phone of like new releases that are coming out, things that I want to keep an eye out for, just so I don't forget. This band, 3-piece from Brazil, 3 brothers. 2 of them are brothers, and I think the third one is like a half brother or something, but they've been together since like 1990. So you absolutely know what you're going to get with Crypts at this point. An absolutely consistent discography. They've put out a ton of great albums. Their last one, 2015's Forged in Fury, I liked. It was cool. Probably more towards the bottom of the barrel in terms of their discography. This one is much, much better. My favorite track on here is Demonic 3, the second track. Fucking outstanding. The production on this is perfect for like a modern sounding death metal album. Really heavy shit, lots of great riffs. If you haven't listened to Crypts before, I suggest checking out some of their earlier work and then move your way forward. Any band that you're not familiar with, that's probably what I'm going to tell you to do. Usually the earlier stuff is better, but that doesn't mean that this new stuff isn't good or worth checking out. So definitely listen to the new Crypts album. Then we have the new Monstrosity album, The Passage of Existence. This came out on Metal Blade Records. Came out on the same day as the new Crypts album. This one I like, but let's be honest, this is the first new Monstrosity album in 11 years. Their only remaining original member is their drummer, so this is a far cry from the early days of Monstrosity, Imperial Doom, and Dark Purity, all that stuff. Doesn't quite sound like the same band, but it is an enjoyable listen. I keep coming back to it. I've listened to it all the way through a bunch of times. A couple things I will say. I feel like it's a little bit long. It's 12 songs. It's about like an hour long. I don't think anyone really needs a new hour-long Monstrosity album. And a lot of the leads and the guitar solos are cranked way fucking high up in the mix. So when they just go into a solo, it's just... It's too intense. It's borderline obnoxious at times. But I do think that this is a cool album. I'm definitely glad I picked it up. I like it. I'm a sucker for death metal, and this is pretty good. It's just like way more technical sounding than the older Monstrosity stuff. Although I will say that Monstrosity, for at the time, was more technical sounding than a lot of the rest of the death metal bands of the early '90s. But that's my take on the new Monstrosity album. And this one was just kind of a random pickup. I was just going through the CDs. I saw the Misfits, my favorite band of all time. I was like, what the hell? I have all their CDs. Maybe they'll have something weird. And I lucked out. This is a live, on-the-air recording from 1983. They played a 32-song set that was recorded live and aired on the radio. This is called Teenagers from Mars. Really don't have any other information. All I know is that this was recorded in 1983. I don't know where, but it's all the classic stuff. The recording quality is shit, but if you've heard like Evil Live, it's about the same as that. So if you can stomach that, this is about the same in terms of audio quality. 32 songs packed in there. The band sounds pissed off, angry, aggressive. What I would give to be at one of those late 70s, early 80s Misfits shows, but this is the closest thing I can get. Or you can catch one of their reunion shows, the closest thing that you will get to seeing the actual Misfits nowadays, which I did, and it was amazing, for me personally, because it's my favorite fucking band. They're the reason that I'm sitting here talking about music. So, and then I picked up a few records, couple Kiss reissues. This is for Revenge, the most underrated Kiss record of all time, in my opinion. I absolutely fucking love the first track on here, Unholy. I think that song fucking slaps. Take It Off, Tough Love, Spit, Domino. The whole A-side, honestly, of this album is fucking great. It tapers off towards the end a little bit. That promo shot is fucking legendary. I love this album. 1991, I believe. Definitely the best of the unmasked Kiss era records. If you don't like Kiss, you're not going to like that shit. And then even if you do like Kiss, you might not like this one. This is Music from the Elder. Their most unheralded album, even despised in some circles. Maybe Kiss's Cold Lake, if you will. This isn't, by any stretch of the imagination, a great Kiss album, but I think if you took the Kiss logo off of this album and just put it on without knowing who it was, you would think that it's a great kind of rock opera sounding album. It's very bombastic. Really doesn't sound anything like Kiss. But Just a Boy, Odyssey, Under the Rose, there's a couple, standout tracks on here that if you put aside that this is a Kiss album, you would think it's pretty good, kind of classic sounding rock. Which isn't what I normally listen to, but I was filling some gaps in my Kiss discography and decently priced reissue. So that was more of a gap filler. I can't imagine that I'll listen to that one a whole lot. This one, I've been fucking blasting. OWar, Kings of Metal. This comes on a nice orange, transparent vinyl, real heavyweight. Metal Blade Records reissued this. There you go. OWar. I don't know what to tell you about OWar. If you don't know, you better find out. Wheels of Fire, Kings of Metal, Hail and Kill. Some great shit on here. Sign of the Hammer is probably my favorite OWar. This would be a close second. Really glad this got reissued. I didn't have a whole lot of time to look through Amoeba. I'm sure there were a whole lot of gems in there that I would have loved to find. But just snagging a few reissues here and there while I was on the road, getting to browse through the stuff at Amoeba was really fucking cool. I really hope that I get to go back again someday, maybe even the one in San Francisco. But Alright, I got one more to show you, then I'm going to show you a fuck ton of death metal. This is the new full length from Haunt, Burst into Flame. You've seen me talk about Haunt here on this channel. This is the colored version, split splatter. Love the B-side label here, very retro looking. And this is just like their four song EP, Luminous Eyes. This is much of the same traditional metal in the vein of like the early new wave of British heavy metal type of stuff. Really, really awesome. Mystical heavy metal from Fresno. So if you liked Luminous Eyes, the EP, which I have talked about extensively here, you're going to like Burst into Flame. Starts off with the title track, great song. My Mirage, Wanderlust, Frozen in Time, the closing track, Looking Glass. Really, really cool stuff on here. I definitely like Luminous Eyes more just because that EP caught me so by surprise, and every track is a fucking banger. But this is honestly just as good. I think I just hold that EP in a it's got like a special place for me. Like some albums tend to do. Usually it's the first one you hear or the first material that comes out. It's just sometimes that's just the way it is. I don't know how else to explain it. Alright, death metal. Here we go. This might be the best new death metal band going right now. This is Superstition from New Mexico here in the United States. This is the LP version released by 20 Bucks Spin. This is their EP, Surging Throng of Evil's Might. 4 tracks. As far as I know, there are 2 versions of this. This one just on black, and then I think there was a colored version. I don't know what color. But this is an outstanding fucking EP. I have the cassette too. I got the cassette pretty early on. Right about the time 20 Bucks Spin picked them up, probably. Very simple looking cassette. This shit fucking goes. This is some evil, disgusting, whatever adjectives kids are applying to death metal these days, this fits the bill. And for only 4 tracks, it's so short, so sweet, tons of repeat listens. Outer Mutation, second track on here. Mamma Mia. It's fucking beautiful. Definitely a lot of Morbid Angel vibes on here. The recording, the production is really raw sounding, really aggro, really like caveman kind of style. It fits the music perfectly with the production, and I want more from Superstition. I need more from Superstition. Because Surging Throng of Evil's Might is so fucking good, and it's just a little appetizer. I need, give me the fucking buffet. I want to dive in and get some more of these tasty fucking riffs. Seriously. Bravo. 20 Bucks Spin. Fucking killing it this year with, all the bands they've been signing, all the releases they've been putting out. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but just goes to show. This one, I talked about the CD, I believe. I finally got a vinyl copy. This is Crypts of Despair with The Stench of the Earth. I might have even already showed this fucking record, but I'm going to talk about it again because I don't care, and I don't bother to check if I've talked about this shit already or not. I know I definitely showed the CD. Not sure if I already showed the record or not, but this demands listening if you are a fan of death metal. Testimony Records. I hope you can see the logo and the artwork and stuff. It's a pretty dark looking cover. Just black vinyl here, but they are from, I want to say, Lithuania or Turkey. Somewhere fucking strange. No, definitely Lithuania. Burial Invocation is from Turkey. I was just listening to that record, so I got my lines crossed up. But yeah, man, this is just like old school sounding style death metal. not really a modern twist to it, but you can definitely you can tell it's like a newer death metal album. Like if you were to just blindly put this on, you wouldn't be like, is this from '95 or something? No, you'd be able to tell that this is a newer death metal record, but it's definitely got that old vibe to it. You know, sticking to the roots, not reinventing the wheel, just doing it and doing it damn good. And you know, there's a certain appreciation that I have for, you know, not trying to step outside of the box too much. You know, not to say that there's, you know, like a template that I like bands to stick to when they're writing a death metal album, but there are certain confines where if you stray too far out of them, I lose interest. And so to get an album like this that is just a straight up ferocious, mighty sounding death metal album, I love it. I'm a sucker for it. I fall into the trap and I'm stuck and I'm okay. You leave me down there with the flies and the dirt and the rot, as long as I've got my death metal. Crypts of Despair, The Stench of the Earth. And I've got one more for you. This is a reissue, Defeat of Sanity. This is Chapters of Repugnance. That's the title of this. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, records from Defeated Sanity. Reissued by Willow Tip Records. Gotta thank my buddy Josh Armijo, runner JMA, here on YouTube. You all know that. He posted this record on his Instagram. I had no idea that they were reissuing it. I jumped over to Willow Tip's store, their web store. They still had this lovely, lovely clear with orange splatter version up for sale. So I got it. This was, you know, limited to something. I don't really care. Once again, I don't really care about record colors. If they have a choice, sometimes I'll go with the colored. I mean, this one looked pretty cool. But if I can only get a record in black, who fucking cares? I would rather have a physical copy of something than not have it at all because I missed out on a color. Like, that's so fucking stupid. This is, you know, absolutely fantastic, brutal death metal, technical shit too. And the cool thing about this album here is there's 3 bonus tracks. There's a couple old songs re-recorded with their new vocalists, as well as one brand new song. I was looking forward to listening to them, and then when I put them on, I quickly just kind of lost interest. Didn't really do it for me. Sometimes that's what re-recordings will do. I tend to, you know, lean more towards just leave them untouched. They've already been recorded. Just leave it the way it is. And then, you know, the new song is incredibly like technical sounding. If you listen to like Disposal of the Dead and Dharmata, that like split album that they did most recently, it sounds like a combination of the two. Whereas I much prefer Disposal of the Dead to the Dharmata stuff. It sounded like a super technical, like Sound of Perseverance era death, but like even more technical than that. You know, that kind of stuff doesn't really do it for me. But super stoked to have this album on vinyl. This is absolutely nasty, brutal death metal. Doesn't get much better than Defeated Sanity. So check that one out. I'm sure you can still get a copy somewhere. Check Willow Tip. I will leave some links down below in the description where you can listen to and purchase some of these albums if you are so inclined. And I always recommend that, you know, if you like something, please buy it. Just, you know, that's how this thing keeps going. So that's why I do these videos. I hope you guys are out there listening to this stuff, buying it, supporting underground bands, underground labels, and all that stuff. But I can only do so much. But as always, thanks for tuning into this channel and continuing to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. So until the next time, take care.